Hello, this is Jcamera here, and today we're going to be taking a look at LEGO Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The set is numbered 4730, released in 2002, and of course called The Chamber of Secrets, based on the film/book The Chamber of Secrets that came out the same year, and the set is meant to coincide with that. So here are the instructions. Of course, the same background as usual with the medieval stone Hogwarts Castle layout with the night sky and forest background. And then we get to the minifigures and the fantastic beasts of Fawkes the Phoenix and the Basilik, which I'll get to. And then we get to different builds, like we get the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets here. We get the various turrets. And in this set, because it's so big, it is numbered in bags. And get more turrets. And then we get to the Salazar Slytherin statue. And then we get to the actual chamber itself with the different corridors. Then we get the alternative builds. And we get a couple of pages for the play features. And then we get a LEGO Creator Harry Potter and a Philosopher's Stone advertisement, even though the Chamber of Secrets game probably wasn't released until the following year. And we get an advertisement for all the sets. I'll admit that I was trying to get this set to be the last Harry Potter set that I reviewed, but at the time of recording this, at least, that is not the case, and we have only just passed the halfway point of sets. Maybe I'll upload this to be the last one, but as of recording this, this is the 6th set from the Chamber of Secrets wave, and there's about 4 sets left that I'll be reviewing. So something I wanted to highlight, I don't know if it's just this set, or if I'm only noticing this until now, but some of the objects are highlighted in like an outline. Like we get the Basilik, Harry and the Sword of Gryffindor, and then Tom, Riddle, and Ginny highlighted, which is interesting. Oh yeah, and Fawkes the Phoenix. I don't know why this is, but I guess it's cool regardless. And by the way, something I forgot to mention is that this set, when it first came out in 2002, originally retailed for $70 US, making it the second most expensive set back in the day. But nowadays, this is the most expensive LEGO Harry Potter set, surpassing Hogwarts Castle, because of the rare pieces and exclusive minifigures that boosts its value. In fact, this is the only set that you might have to pay more than $200 for. Maybe Hogwarts Castle, but you'll probably be 50-50 on getting it above 200 or even below 200. But this one I was lucky enough to get well below 200. In fact, it was below 150, which was nice. So there are 5 minifigures in this set. Let's take a look at them. First up is the boy who lived himself, Harry James Potter. This is the final review, at least when it comes to the older sets, that I'll be showcasing this variant of Harry Potter. If I ever choose to do the Prisoner of Azkaban wave of sets back in 2004, or just some of the older sets, I'll probably replace those versions of Harry with this Harry. Who knows? But when it comes officially, for what you would get with the sets, without changing anything, this is the last time he would appear in these sets. And what's funny is that he appears in 7 sets, and that's the magic number of Harry Potter. But of course, as usual, he has the Gryffindor torso with the burgundy and gold, yellow skin. He has no printing on the back of his head or on the back of his torso. Although he does have the starry cape pattern that you can see there. And the copyright logo, of course. And uses the old light grey and big black 1 stick piece for him. Yeah, it's a classic minifigure. Honestly, what more do you want me to say about this figure that I haven't already said? Next up, we have Ron Bilious Weasley, and just like Harry Potter, this is the last time we'll be taking a look at him on this channel, at least officially. and this is his 5th appearance overall. He had 4 appearances in the Philosopher's Stone, and to my surprise, this is the only time he actually appeared in the Chamber of Secrets wave. At least when it comes to the Gryffindor uniform variants. Obviously, the character himself did make a few other appearances in these sets, but when it comes to this variant, this is the only time. And again, just like Harry, been there, done that, with the Gryffindor torso, starry cape, yellow skin, earth orange hair, and light grey wand. I will say though that this is probably the best condition that Ron has ever been in these sets, so thank you to who sold this set to me. Because Ron especially is not easy to get in good condition in these older sets, depending on how you buy them, but this is the one time where he's perfect. Okay, at least when it comes to this variant. Other variants have been perfectly fine as well, but I just thought I'd mention it. The third minifigure of the set is an exclusive minifigure, Ginny Weasley, Ron Weasley's sister. She comes with earth orange hair just like Ron, and has the pigtail design, which is a retired Lego hairpiece. She too has the Gryffindor torso, starry cape. My Ginny, besides the head and hair, she's in terrible shape. But regardless, she's here, that's what counts, and you get the idea of what she's supposed to look like. I am one day going to do a minifigure showcase showing all the old school Harry Potter minifigures, and all of them are going to be upgraded to the best of my ability. But here she is. Her head doesn't actually translate very well on camera. If I'm trying to show you what she looks like. She's supposed to have freckles around here, but it looks good in person, but for whatever reason, the camera does not want to pick up on it. And if you take the hair away, she looks like Hermione and Ron's child. Because she has this similar expression, similar eyes, lips, everything to Hermione's minifigure, except they gave her the freckles of Ron Weasley. I mean, maybe they're a little bit more different if I was to do a side-by-side comparison, but needless to say, she looks very similar. And I'm not too crazy for the hairpiece they used for her, but I suppose for 2002, this is the best that she could have. But I am glad they made it the same color as Ron, earth orange. And one last thing to note, she, just like Harry, has the same color wand, being the old brown piece for her wand. The penultimate minifigure of the set is Gilderoy Lockhart. This variant is exclusive to the set, but the character we've seen before in the Dueling Club set. He has that wavy hairpiece, which was actually made for him, which is nice. And if this camera could damn focus, you can see he has a great face print with the cheekbones and the arrogant, egotistical smile. And he has a sand red costume, which is a pretty rare color, especially for minifigures. And this is also the most expensive of the older Harry Potter figures. He's minimum $30 to $40, and that's if you're getting him, used condition, with cracks and missing printing. So he's very expensive, and I think he alone for minifigures contributes why this set is one of the most expensive. And he comes with this wand, which is a rare color. I can't tell. I think it's like a dark nougat kind of color, or if it's like dark orange or something, but it's a very rare color for a wand. And he comes with this very accurate looking uniform that he wears. Of course, he has no back printing as usual. A very cool minifigure that really pops and stands out in your collection. And it looks like the character ripped right off the screen. Easily one of the best minifigures of these older sets. In fact, honestly, as long as you change up the color from yellow to a light nougat, like flesh tones, he would actually fit right in with modern minifigures, I'd argue. That's how good he is, which, as much as I love the other minifigures of these sets, I don't know if I could necessarily say the same for. But I just love how timeless this figure is. And the final minifigure of the set is the villain Tom Riddle, or Tom Marvolo Riddle, aka Lord Voldemort. I said that really weird. Just like Harry and Ginny, he comes with a brown wand, which makes sense because the one core is meant to come from the same source, like the same phoenix or something. And that's why a priority incantatum, or whatever it's called, happens in Goblet of Fire. He was a Slytherin student, so he comes with Slytherin printing. And he has a plain black cape rather than a starry cape. Maybe it's to show that he's the villain, or that he's a memory from a diary, because he's meant to be a little otherworldly, like, he doesn't quite fit in. Or maybe it's just because he's from a different time period of Hogwarts and they changed uniforms. Either one is likely, and either conclusion it still works. He has no back printing on the head or torso. And he comes with Harry Potter's exact same hair, which I think there was like a line in the books or something that showcased that they had similar haircuts, but I could be wrong. I don't know how to feel about the hair, to be honest. I get that they're trying to parallel Harry and Tom Riddle, but I would prefer it if they used the Gilderoy Lockhart hairpiece and made it the black color. Because that's what they did in the video game, like Harry Potter Years 1 through 4. And that's exactly the hairpiece Robin, when he first appeared in LEGO, had. Everyone that's reviewed this set has this as a negative, and I think I'll join them. Like, I get what they're going for, and I suppose I could accept it, because it doesn't look too bad, but I would prefer it if they used that hairpiece. Then again, this set would probably go higher up in value, so I guess you kind of have to take the good of the bad. Now on to the fantastical beasts and extra little bits. First off, we'll start with Fawkes the Phoenix, who is exclusive to the set in this exclusive mold. It would have been cool if he appeared in Dumbledore's office, but makes sense. It's clear that they had all these sets together in mind, and it would be redundant getting some of the same things twice, so I can excuse it. He comes with this stand to hold him up to look like he's flying. Like, you can have it here where he's flying above water, about to take off the basilisk's eyes, which I'll get to when I get to the basilisk. He's in this red color, but on the tail, it's like turning orange, like a bright orange. In fact, maybe even brighter than Ron Weasley, which I really like. Like, there's a little bit of red there, but it's sort of showing that he turns red, or like turns a different color eventually. Of course, he has this peg hole that you can put him on a roof if you want to, or something. And there's even something there, so you can maybe have a minifigure somewhat stand, although I say somewhat very loosely. And he has this feather hole thing, which the set doesn't give you an option to put something on his head, so I don't know why it's there for, but it looks cool regardless. And he's a very blocky figure, but it adds to the charm of 2002 LEGO, something that they can't really replicate today, because nowadays, sometimes he's a mold, but he's not as LEGO-like. He's almost like a parrot design or a brick build, so I really do appreciate this mold. And on the tail, you can actually hold 2 minifigures at a time while they're flying around. So let's have them flying up here, for example. Well, it is a little heavy. You can have 2 minifigures like Harry and Lockhart or something when the Phoenix is trying to take him out of the Chamber of Secrets, which is really nice. And something that I find really odd about this is that he's facing a direction. Maybe it's so he could much easier take off the eyes or to look more alive. I don't know if it's just me, but it's a little odd, but it can be appreciated. Like, if he's flying here or something, or even just flying here to take and peck the eyes out. And then we get the monster itself, the Basilik, which is quite large. Like, it's wider than the width of this set. In fact, if I just do a side-by-side comparison, it's wider than the Chamber of Secrets itself, which is impressive. Like, this is one large snake. Even though he's not particularly, like, thick, he is quite long, and I think that acquaints itself. Like, it's a very tall minifigure. In fact, in terms of height, it's... If you combine the entrance of a Chamber of Secrets with the Chamber of Secrets, it's not quite as tall, but if you combine it with the turrets, it's about the same height, which is quite impressive. And keep in mind, this snake is, like, bent with the tail and neck. So, he comes with several different bits that you have to put together to make him. There's no real printing on the tail, but in the middle, neck, and the head, there's the scale printing showing, like, dark grey, light grey, and dark green scales, which looks kind of nice. I do wish this snake was in dark green rather than sand green, which is a little boring, especially with the sand green roofs these sets have, but I guess the scales make up for that. And there's plenty of room that you could ride figures on, which makes them look more massive, which is nice. In fact, you can even sit one on top of his head if you really want to. And he has these eyes that you can poke out, these translucent yellow eyes, so you can have them there to stare at minifigures, petrify them, or even kill them. And you can take them off for when the Phoenix blinds the snake, when he's fighting Harry, which is nice. And then you just put him back on, like so. He has these two fang pieces, which are two glow-in-the-dark daggers, which these two pieces will cost you hundreds of dollars getting them. So they alone are the reason why I got this set early, because I got a deal just then, and I just had to take it, just for them alone. Like, this set is a little filthy, like, nothing was broken or missing, but it does need a pretty decent clean, and some pieces that are a little worth replacing, but this is the reason I got it, because it never was I going to get a good value or deal with this in my life. And of course, there's enough room that you could have a minifigure like Harry get eaten by the Basilik, or even have, like, the Sword of Gryffindor, which I'll get to later, stab him there, and maybe that's why the holes are there, so you can stab him somehow. But yeah, that's pretty nice. And of course, you can rotate this snake around if you want to. You can rotate the tail through different ball joints, and it's not just the tail, but the same can be said for the head and neck. It's hard to do with one camera, but yes, it is indeed possible. And I must say that, compared to modern Basilisks, this has got to be the best one. The one in a 2018 Great Hall set is god-awful, and even though it's very flexible, looks nothing like the Basilisk. And then the one from 2021 is okay, but it lacks what this has. I will say I like the olive green color on that one, but I don't know, the dark green scales on this one looks really cool, and I like the size of it better, and I like how the head's done a lot more, and I feel like this one might be a bit more flexible as well. So it's interesting that, despite being so old, they got the Basilisk, as well as the Chamber of Secrets, which I'll get to later, hit in the nail, like, the first time around, and they couldn't quite get it down afterwards. Now we get into the Chamber of Secrets itself, and trust me, this is a large set. So I guess I'll begin with these turret pieces that just sort of sit here. They're on these 6x6 baseplate pieces, and they have these flat studs and then tiled studs, plates, and you get these corners that you can store the Hogwarts Castle pieces on, which is nice. So this is meant to sit well beneath the castle. We get a potion tile, maybe a student's doing homework or something. It's just empty space, honestly. It's just, in case this is your only Harry Potter set, you at least get a little bit of the castle, which they didn't have to do, but I guess it's appreciated, and it helps decorate the castle a lot more. And when I do my Hogwarts Castle tour of these older sets, you'll see where I'm going to be putting these. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, this is a spare piece I got of the set. I don't know if the set actually comes with one or not, but mine came with an extra white brick, which is used for the statue's eyes, which I'll get to later. Here's the second turret, which is just a generic turret, just more of the same. And the third turret actually does something pretty unique and different, giving us a stained glass window in red and green, which is nice. And you get a light grey owl, which is nice. And you get maybe a little bit more space of minifigures, and it's taller, but at the end of the day, it's just another turret. This is sort of how they all look together, if anyone's curious. Not really much to say. They're nice additions that you don't have to have in this set, but if this is your first Harry Potter set, I guess it's appreciated and does help decorate the castle nicely. And then we get the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets itself, which is on a much bigger base plate. It's actually on a base plate piece, not a just plate piece. It's on a 8 by 16. I actually haven't counted it. Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 8 by 16 plates. So we get some candles here. We get this roof with these two turrets, which looks nice. And I will say, this was actually got a better exterior than some of the other sets. It's definitely not the best, but and it still shows its age. It's still got gaps, but there's more walls than you might initially think. You get this little sink here and this tiled bathroom floor, because this is meant to be like Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. And then down here, you're supposed to push this out, because this is a trapdoor, and like the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. So you have Harry speak Parseltongue, and then you open it like so. You can't really push it up because there's bricks underneath it. And then you have this floor piece hold it back up. And what's funny is that you actually have enough pieces, like space here, to have several figures. So you can have Harry here, you can have Ron here, and you can at least try to squeeze in Gilderoy Lockhart. There's not a lot of room, but you can somewhat fit them in. Again, I say somewhat. Then you have down here sort of the entrance. Like, there's no door that you can open, which that is a point I will give to the newest version of the Chamber of Secrets, the 2021 version. It at least includes the door. That is a knock against the set I do have, and a point that one I'll give that it does better, but otherwise I still think this one improves. We get sort of a snake skin, because this is like a black snake. I think it's just meant to be a shredded snake skin. Maybe it's an extra snake, who knows, but it's cool and adds to the creepy, mysterious element of this set. And of course you get the trapdoor with this, like, sort of slide you can have the minifigures go through, so you can have the set like this. You can have a slide like that, which is pretty cool. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say, honestly. You can even have this sort of work as a wall. So like when Lockhart fires a spell and then him and Ron are separate from Harry, you can have like Ron, I got them backwards. Ron and Gilderoy Lockhart just here, while Harry is on the other side looking for Ginny to save, like this. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I wanted to point it out in case nobody else did, and I think it looks pretty cool. And then you actually get this 2x3 brick here, which I think is meant to connect this set to the rest of the Chamber of Secrets, because honestly it looks weird otherwise just having it there. Like, if I just turn this damn thing around, you can actually put the brick on there, and you have enough room to have Harry and Ron go, not Harry and Ron, just Harry go through, which is nice. And it actually, it's not very sturdy, God no, but it's cool that you can at least do that, and it's the thought that counts. Of course, you can store it on like so, except you can't really use these little bits, they're only for the turrets, but you can use these green slope pieces. In fact, you'll have extra room, a little bit of extra room there, depending on how you store it. This should be 2 studs to the left with how I've done it, but you get the idea. Like, it should look more closer to something like this. Now, at the 25-minute mark of the video, we can finally look at the Chamber of Secrets. So, these base plates are really thick. They're thicker than anything these Harry Potter sets have ever had, so that's cool. And we get this, like, by 4, however long it is, walkway, and then we get a little meeting area with the minifigures Harry, Tom Riddle, and Ginny. We get these fireplace bits, which isn't in the books or films, which is a bit weird, but looks cool, makes it more less monotonous. In fact, there's a goblet in here, which is very odd. Maybe this is also Salazar Slytherin's tomb when he passed or something, I don't know. These snakes, for me, have always sort of just mixed and matched, like they've gone this side. Maybe it's just how I put them, or something about this condition of the set, but I just wanted to point it out. We get this little sewage area walkway to show that this black floor is meant to be water, just looking dark because of how dark it looks. And you get an extra snake there, maybe it's snake skin, who knows. On the back, we got some secrets that I'll get to in a minute. We get 4 of these wall pieces, which have this sort of green goo or just mold on the floor. And it looks really cool with the snake heads, and it looks accurate to the film. And we get 2 of these on each side, as you can see. And we got an extra set of 2 here. And then on here, we get these snake shields, which are supposed to be probably 3 of them, because we got these play features, gimmicks, and just to break up the monotony of the set, I suppose. Obviously, the hallway is meant to be really long, and I think they did a great job translating it to Lego. In fact, there's no real open space at all, which is impressive. So clearly they put their A game into this set. They clearly cared. And there's actually ways you can open these parts of the sets. In fact, before I do that, you can actually rotate this however you want. So you can have this Salazar Slytherin statue in the middle, and then this. I do it the other way because it takes up less space and looks cooler to me. But yeah, you can... This you are supposed to move around, and you have the walls move like so. And then here, you just sort of have them knocked down like that. In fact, something I forgot to mention is that you get these alligator, crocodile pieces in dark grey hanging on there. Maybe they're meant to be just cool decorations, or they're meant to be extra snake heads somehow, but it looks cool. And then on this side, we get a translucent neon green spider, which is a bit odd because it's established in both the books and movies that the spiders are meant to be afraid of the basilisk, but I don't know, breaks up the monotony, and you need to put something in there, I suppose. And then you get a black wizard hat, which is meant to be the sorting hat. I did not mean to take this piece off, but you get the idea. It's meant to be where you have the sword of Gryffindor come out. And of course, you can put these walls back on like so. And then on the other side, you get an extra snake. Maybe it's more snake skin, who knows. But over here, we get the sword of Gryffindor, which is in this chrome color, which looks really cool. I would like it if there were red accents on the hilt of it, but for 2002, I'll take the fact that it's chrome any day over just being grey or whatever. So it still looks cool, and you can have the sword come out of the hat if you want to, like this or something. But yeah, you can just position the sword like this. And then you can pull this out and the walls... Okay, they don't go back to normal. You sort of have to put them back together yourself. But still, it's a neat enough feature. And then at the very end, we get the Salazar Slytherin statue, which is connected by these connector bricks, these rotating bits. You get flames here, which makes more sense, makes it more creepy, anonymous, and more interesting. And you have these really creepy looking eyes, and it for 2002, I mean, obviously I'm not scared of it, but it does look a little sinister and creepy. Nowadays, LEGO would make this look more cartoony, but it's really appreciated with this large nose and this beard, which, again, for 2002, they really thought outside the box how to make this, and it looks cool. And if I can rotate on the back, you can see the eyes are made of white bricks, while the mouth is made of black bricks to add more dimension to it. And you can have the mouth open up like so you can have the basilisk come out. And of course, it's glowing in the dark because I've had it in the sun. Not for especially long, but just to prove that it does glow in the dark. And yeah, you can sort of close it up so it's not as obvious, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And you even have enough space on there for, like, Harry to go on top and the basilisk to be on there, and then he gets stabbed. I don't know, we'll say Harry's one somehow stabbed him, and you can have his corpse lying on there, and then the rest of the scene plays out as normal. And I suppose the last thing I should cover with this set is the diary. So here's what Tom Riddle's diary looks like. Here's the front, here's the spine, and here's the back. And there's nothing inside of it within this set at all. It's in this brown color. I would have liked it more if it was in a black color, but I guess brown isn't too bad. It makes it look more old, I guess. And it's punctured, of course. It also appeared in a Dobby's release set, except I think it had like a Gryffindor sock piece in that set. I wish that this set had an unpunctured version of it, like a normal version of the diary, and then we get the destroyed version of this Horcrux in Dobby's release. But I'm making that request way too damn late. But I suppose it's nice that we got it at all. And you can remove the basilisk fangs, although it is difficult to do it, but you can... It fits, because it's a knife, it's stabbing through something, which makes more sense. And, like, the fact it's glow in the dark really makes a lot of sense. They don't have to do this, but it's nicely appreciated. And you can have it, like, stab it until it's destroyed, which is nice. But yeah, that's my showcase of this set review. It's the second biggest in all of the old Harry Potter sets, the old LEGO Harry Potter sets. And it's one of my longest LEGO set reviews I have made. The longest is so far the Batcave set, and I don't think any of these LEGO reviews are going to top that, but this is definitely one of the longer ones, which makes sense with how much it offers. For $70, this would have been a fantastic deal with 5 minifigures, 2 Fantastic Beasts, and just so much. It includes the climax of a set and the entrance of a chamber of secrets. It includes lots of expanding to the Hogwarts Castle and a lot to the Harry Potter universe. And if this is your first Harry Potter set, it is a great first one to get. I would personally prefer the Hogwarts Castle as your first LEGO Harry Potter set, but this is a good early one to get as well. Even today, I do think the price makes sense of all the rare pieces of the Basilisk fangs, the Basilisk itself, Fawkes the Phoenix, exclusive Ginny Weasley and Tom Riddle heads and hair for Ginny, and then the diary, which only appears on a couple sets, the wall pieces, which are exclusive, and I think the snake shields might be exclusive, and then Gilderoy Lockhart is exclusive and in a very, very rare color. And with the amount it offers, it makes sense as it's expensive as it is. This is well worth the buck, honestly, if you were to get this, even if it's like $200 to $300. I'd still say go pick the set up if you can. I'd argue it's the best version of the set we have ever gotten, and out of these older sets, it's easily one of the best we've ever gotten. Maybe even the best for the Chamber of Secrets wave, and I mean, I'd have to compare all the sets together and maybe even do a ranking of them all one day, but this is, in my opinion, one of the best sets of the entire wave, and contender for the best for the older sets. Like, if you swap the minifigure tones, like, for the modern colors, honestly, yeah, it would fit right in, honestly, and I don't think most people would complain a lot about it. So, for what's coming up next for LEGO Harry Potter reviews, the next one up is most likely going to be Aragog in a Dark Forest, which will probably come out as of recording this in 1 or 2 weeks. It might be different for uploading, but that's probably going to be the review I'll be making next, at least for LEGO Harry Potter. I'm not sure if this is going to be my next video in general, but for LEGO Harry Potter, that's most likely the next one. But anyway, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later.